As we talked about, Elsevier is a global company. We've worked with just a couple of their business units. So from both their perspective of the work they're doing and the Conga perspective of how we're working with them, I think there's some great opportunities out there. We know within our services team, we actually have a couple projects in our pipeline right now. So we have a couple opportunities, and I think we're starting a project in the next couple of weeks, actually, I think with their China team. So we have a couple things in work. I'm sure there's lots of other opportunities with Elsevier as we look at their global organization to continue our expansion and footprint of our Conga solution.
Welcome to the Revenue Renovation Podcast, where we discuss and analyze how organizations utilize Conga technology to transform revenue operations across their entire revenue lifecycle. I'm Jennifer Dugan, your host, and I have Crystal George with me here as well. Crystal, you want to say hello to the audience?
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here on this podcast today.
We are excited to have you. Also, we have Bill Lesko with us. Now, Bill has been with Conga for about 8 years now. I have the pleasure of working with him directly. I have also nicknamed him the conductor, right? When there's a problem, there's an issue. If it has anything to do with professional services, random projects, he's in there helping solve the problems. Formally, though, he actually runs our solution assurance program. So, Bill, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, things that most people wouldn't know.
All right, Jennifer and Crystal, I am excited to be here as well. This is going to be an exciting opportunity to talk about one of our customers, but we'll get there in just a second. All right. Other thing I'm known as, and I'm called often, and like hopefully in a positive way, is the Ask Siri or Ask Alexa of Conga. I've been here long enough that I tend to know where a lot of the skeletons are buried and what rocks to turn to get to the right people. That's also a name tag I'll wear occasionally. Something that people may not know about me, that I know that you know about me, is that I have been working from anywhere, working remotely in my RV for the past 2.5 years. So I've been all over the country, from the Everglades of Florida to where I am now in British Columbia, Vancouver. So you can see my mobile office on wheels in the background. So it's been a pretty exciting part of my life the past couple of years to be able to do this, and thankful for the opportunity at Conga to be able to kind of work in that manner.
I mean, that's really exciting. My favorite, though, is when you're at the beach and we're in a meeting, I could get you to open your RV door so I have an ocean view during a meeting. It's definitely my favorite spots that you go to.
I like it too, yes.
Yeah, that is really cool, Bill. I love traveling as well, and it's such an experience for you. I think this is a great idea. So we're here to talk to you about Elsevier, and this is an account and use case that you're very familiar with. So tell us a little bit about Elsevier and what they do and what's their focus.
Yeah, so Elsevier, this is an exciting story. So they are an interesting company. They are one of the world's largest publisher of science, technology, and health research. And along with that, they also do a lot of data mining and data extraction to provide that health data to their customers. So, and you can imagine, we all deal with our health records and health data, and the opportunity that must be out there for that data to be surfaced and utilized by their customers.
Health research and data, it's pretty important. They have to have the right solution, it sounds like, for what they need to do on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, absolutely. And Elsevier is a global company. They have headquarters in Amsterdam. They also have offices around the world: U.S., Europe, China. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, how that played into our actual implementation, and a little bit later as we go through this discussion.
It's pretty amazing to see the impact that technology can have on the medical community, right? They've been collecting personal data from all of us for so many years, and it's great to see now that they could overlay technology to find trends and potential cures and issues. It's really exciting stuff, I think, that they're doing in the healthcare space with technology these days. And So what I'd love to do next is talk a little bit more about their use case. Could you give us an overview of the situation Elsevier was experiencing before Conga? How was it going before we got involved?
Yeah, their use case and their business challenges are not unlike what we see with a lot of our customers. So, we were working with Matt Cumberledge there, who is their head of their quote to cash system. And he was, they were getting a lot of having a lot of challenges as he was working with their legal and their sales team on their contracting process, right? So they were going through a lot of mergers and acquisitions and acquire other companies, and really realizing that every business unit had their own way of processing contracts. They didn't have controls in place, they didn't have standard language, and they didn't have a lot of their templates. And so they were seeing issues with data accuracy. They were seeing issues with people going outside the system to process contracts because the systems weren't working. So they're having a lot of those key business challenges that we always look for all the time when we're trying to position a solution for business needs and that execute to the process of the life cycle.
Mergers and acquisitions can be rough. I mean, just a few years ago, we went through the Aptus and Conga, and we experienced a lot of those challenges here, right? We had disparate Salesforce orgs. And I remember that being really tough for the go-to market teams and the struggle as we have been combining everything and the amazing outcomes now that we are all in unified systems. It's pretty, the impact that has is really great within organizations. So it's really interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of disparate systems, lots of pain points. And I'm wondering, Bill, what was their compelling event that caused Elsevier to decide to fix things? Or was there something that caused them to make a change?
Yeah, I think it really was more of a cascading of events, right? A number of cumulative events over time, especially with the result of these mergers that they went through and getting these additional business units on, where they really just realized they were having these pain points, right? And as we'll talk about, just the processing of a contract was taking them days to weeks to actually get a contract through the process, right? And once they started doing that and Matt started actually owning the overall quote to cash process, I think they realized there was a big opportunity for improvements.
So lots of factors, not just one major instance, just a lot of different items all crashing down at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they had a ton of compounding factors, taking them a week to produce a contract. Sure, there was a lot of downstream impacts in regards to the length of time it would take to put together a contract. So,
and you can imagine, as a salesperson having to spend that much time, they can't focus on sales, right? So that's right. One of the pain points that we see out there often too.
It is, definitely. What capabilities did Elsevier see, in Conga and contracts for Salesforce specifically, that they thought might really solve their problems? And then how did Conga help design a solution to improve the situation?
I think our solution really lines up really well with their pain points. So, for example, the ability to have templates that are managed and clause language that's managed and controlled by their legal team was huge for them, right? So they saw that as a big win right away. Our approval engine, the ability to control approvals, keep them inside the system was huge. Also, as it's important to mention, they are a Salesforce organization. They use Salesforce, so having our contracts for Salesforce solution live inside the Salesforce ecosystem was big to them too. They wanted to get all their users using the Salesforce system, so this was a big impetus for that as well. So really, as you look at our CFS solution, our contract management lifecycle solutions, it really fit really well against all the key pain points that they were having. That was a big factor in how they looked at Conga as a eventual solution provider.
So it really sounds like our sales team did a great job basically aligning Elsevier's business challenges directly with the features and functionality and the value contracts for Salesforce could bring to their organization.
Absolutely. And the other part of this was our services team then getting involved as we got engaged and designing a solution, not all in one big bang. It's a global organization, right? And so we looked at this and we did a define and design approach first. So we worked with one of their business units. We took basically baby steps, right? And that's what we often advocate as a best practice. Let's start small, get you used to the system, adopt it, and take next steps. So we did that with them for their Europe team. And then we also did a very similar approach with their China team, which is still actually an effort in progress that we'll talk about in a second. But starting small, starting with the define and design phase was important for us from an implementation perspective to really design the best solution for their needs. And that was a big important factor in the eventual success of Elsevier as well.
Bill, with all this functionality, all this new functionality, designing a solution, the templates you mentioned, What was the impact? So what kind of results did Elsevier see once Conga solutions were deployed?
Yeah, one of the coolest results they shared with us was just contract, the processing, the cycle time, right? So as I talked about before, it would take them days, a week plus to get through the process. That came down to hours. And, we hear that sometimes, right? And can you do I believe that? And yes, that's what they were able to achieve by keeping everything within the system, by having controlled language so they didn't have to go get their own templates from whatever SharePoint or laptop they were working off of. So having those templates, that clause language at their fingertips and having it be controlled, having an approval process within Salesforce was big for them. So yeah, it's that cycle time that really was a huge success metric for them, bringing that way down. And on top of that, the other things I mentioned, that they were having challenges with was data accuracy and having the right information in the system. So that really increased. They got great data accuracy from that. They had much more control and compliance over their reviews and their approval processes now, because they could see who was approving and getting it to the right person and tracking those approvals as well. So it's a lot of those key elements that we often tout in our solution. They were actually able to see those benefits directly.
Yeah, I mean, especially the days to hours to execute a contract. That is just an incredible stat. And I love that you shared that.
Yeah.
It really is, right? And when you think about that, it used to take a week to build a contract, and now it's only taking hours. Not only are we speeding up their deal cycles or their contracting cycles, but we're also freeing up a ton of time, right, for those support resources, the legal team that they could spend, and maybe even the sales team, where they could spend their time and activities doing things that can move the needle towards additional revenue, right? So there's just that exact metric, but think about the downstream consequences of being able to shorten that time. I'm sure they're even greater than we even realize here at Conga. Yeah.
And the user adoption go up as well, Jennifer, because once they start seeing the efficiency of the system, right, then they adopt it and that flywheel gets even stronger, right?
Yeah, we love adoption of our Conga solutions, because happy customers that are using it often lead to expansion within the account. So that's really great to hear. And, based off of that, how does the future look for Elsevier? Are there any upcoming initiatives or ideas that we have for them on a move forward basis?
Yeah, so as we talked about, Elsevier is a global company. We've worked with just a couple of their business units. So from both their perspective of the work they're doing and the Conga perspective of how we're working with them, I think there's some great opportunities out there. We know within our services team, we actually have a couple projects in our pipeline right now. So we have a couple opportunities, and I think we're starting a project in the next couple of weeks, actually, I think with their China team. So we have a couple things in work. I'm sure there's lots of other opportunities with Elsevier as we look at their global organization to continue our expansion and footprint of our Conga solution.
Well, it's really exciting to hear that the professional services is, continuing to engage with them over the last couple of years, to make the solution stickier, continue the increase in adoption. So I absolutely love hearing that. And, I just want to say big thank you to, Crystal and Bill for taking the time to be with us today. And thank you all for listening to the Revenue Renovation Podcast. We are looking forward to producing more content to help you make an impact. Please let us know if you want to share more stories like this, and we can get you on the podcast. Thanks, everybody.